Thank you very much. Time to introduce our guests of Rotarians. Any guests to my right? Yes, Cliff.
My guest is getting a review right now, but it's Naomi Mitchell from the YMCA in Conover.
Welcome back, Naomi. Anyone else to my right? Do you have any guests of Rotarians in the center? No? I know we have a few guests to the left. First, I'd like to have my son stand and be recognized. This is my son, Jim Trollin, who is home on leave from the Military Academy at West Point. He's been to France already this summer studying and learning about World War I while walking the trenches and reading literature written by soldiers during World War I, and he's getting ready to go back to West Point to be a trainer during the plebe basic training, which he went through a couple years ago, if you guys will remember. So thanks for being here today. And thanks to Chief Lucas for thinking that he was my brother. I think that was a little tongue-in-cheek, but I'll take it if I can get it. Any other guests to my left? I'm going to go ahead and let David introduce his guests now.
Yeah, I'm certainly glad to have my family here. My daughter Emily, who just graduated right at the top of her class from Hickory High School and is headed for Carolina this fall. That's the Carolina, the University of South Carolina. And my son Adam is a recent graduate of NC State. Majored in communications media and minored in business, and so he's looking to be your sports broadcaster. And him game he's in Raleigh right now. And my wife Sarah, who as of August will have endured 25 years of marriage with me, and all the other civic and times I've been away, and has agreed maybe one more year before she does.
My daughter, Meg Trollin, sends her regrets from California. As a Wolfpacker, she is already employed and out there working, so I promise to make a note of that as well.
Go Wolfpack!
Time for the Rotary Moment with John Rambo.
Always such a warm welcome. Thank you so much. My name is John Rambo, and I am Rotary. This is the question and answer portion of our program. Birthdays. We have a lot of birthdays to cover since we haven't had Rotary Moment the past couple of weeks. And I'm sorry if you were born today, but either we don't know you or you haven't joined yet. But looking back, June 14th was Leslie Middleton. June 16th was Noah Gagan. June 17th was Mick Berry. June 19th was Avery Wilfong. June 22nd, Rich Brown. Yesterday, June 25th, Cliff Goddard. Looking ahead, tomorrow, June 27th, is Tom Atkins' birthday. June 29th is John Hall. June 30th, Clyde Taylor. July 2nd, Meg Locke. July 3rd, Les Wicker. July 6th, Rudy Wright. July 7th, David Myers. And July 8th, John Ross. Happy birthday to all of you. And that's all the time we have today. But I did want to leave you with some education humor for the 4th of July. 4th of July weekend was approaching, and Miss Pelham, the nursery school teacher, took the opportunity to tell her class about patriotism. We live in a great country, she announced. One of the things we should be happy about is that in this country, we are all free. Trevor, a little boy in her class, came walking up to her from the back of the room. He stood with his hands on his hips and said loudly, "I'm not free, I'm for."
So, time to have some announcements. I would like to have Alan Finley come to the front of the room and receive his check. Alan pulled the joker in our drawing 2 weeks ago in the Service Above Self Scholarship raffle, and this is a promotional opportunity to encourage people to keep contributing to that fund, because you too might get a check. If you don't get the ace of spades, but you do get a joker, then you get the day's draw. So
$5,000.
not quite. Thanks for participating, Alan. The other award or announcement that I have for today is that I have been asked to do my part to make the meeting as short as possible, because the Americans are playing Germany in the World Cup as we speak. And it occurred to me, I don't know if it's in really poor taste to do this, just for the hour or 90 minutes that the game is going on. I'm going to do that, and if someone wants to have me arrested for it, I'll take it. It's time to go ahead and get to the program, so I'm going to introduce our guest today is Jack McCaskill. And many of you guys know Jack McCaskill around the community, but Jack is a member of the Newton-Conover Rotary Club, and he's here today as our assistant governor. He is our new governor, new district governor's representative to our area, and he serves as a liaison and really as an advisor to us. He comes from a career in the military, yay, and also 21 years in the corporate world before he has retired. He's only been a Rotarian for 8 years. I think he joined the same year that I did, but he's really accomplished quite a lot for Rotary and on behalf of Rotary in his 8 years. He's been in his own club on the board of directors, chair of the foundation committee. He's served as club president. He's been through the Rotary Leadership Institute. He's a Paul Harris Fellow and a benefactor. And he is a member of the Fellowship of Scouting Rotarians, chairman the district membership division for our district, and assistant governor for Area 9, which I guess that's what he's serving now, executive board and vice chair for the Carolina Cycle Challenge, so you'll see him a lot involved with that. And he's a little ahead of David and me in 47 years of survival of marriage to his wife Nancy, and has 2 daughters and a grandson. So I'm going to turn it over to Jack now.
It's a great day to be a Rotarian. Good afternoon. Thank you for the introduction. I told when I started, I said I've got 2 minutes, so if somebody wants to time me, we'll see how close this is. To be in a leadership position of an organization made up of community leaders, the magnitude assembled here today, is a rare privilege and a responsibility that few are able to manage and willing to undertake. I commend both Susan and David for taking this opportunity for both personal and professional growth, and it's a journey that they will always remember. As Susan mentioned, I'm wearing several hats in Rotary right now, and the best thing about this job is that I've had the opportunity recently to travel to over 20 clubs here in the district and within the zone. And that's very gratifying, because rather than seeing things from just the tunnel vision of my individual club, you get to see things on a larger magnitude, what Rotary can really accomplish. And I think this is exemplified by the theme for this Rotary year, Light Up Rotary. If I light one candle, if you light one candle, if 1.2 million Rotarians light one candle, we can light up the world. And that's how we make a difference. There are 3 things that jumped out at me learning about this club. And one is the achieving of the presidential citation. This is a benchmark to where you stand as a club in all of Rotary. And it sets you apart from others. In this district, only 18 clubs achieved that distinction this year. Your work under the leadership of Guy Grano of developing your strategic plan is allowing you to define who you are and develop a blueprint for the future. All the members of that committee should be congratulated. You're doing a great job, and it is clearly building the promise for your future. And the third thing that stuck out in my mind is your dedication to the community on such a large scale. You're obviously the largest club within this area, and but you've taken that to do great things. Over $60,000 to Imagination Library, over $200,000 for the Service Above Self scholarships, and your projects with other nonprofits. The thing about that is, and the thing that you can be most proud of, is that you're changing people's lives. You're making a difference. My one challenge to you is that you, and each of you, strengthen and diversify your club membership. Ensure that all members are actually engaged and that they believe they're an integral part of your club. Because your legacy as a Rotarian is what this club will be in 5 and 10 years. Make membership a priority. My task today is to represent the District Governor, Gary Bray, and the new Rotary International President, Gary Wong. And it's a pleasant one to recognize President Crowland and to install President-elect Moore and officers, the new officers. Let me officially thank President Suzanne on behalf of the district for your dedication, your effective leadership in this past year. So at this time, I have the most sought-after pen in all of Rotary.
Sure. I'm the chief pinner. You always take a risk when you're pinning a pin on a female, so let's do that. That's pretty thick fabric I've got. Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to take just a couple of brief moments to give a quick synopsis of our year. We did a lot of that last week, but Jack mentioned the presidential citation. When I met with the board of directors at the beginning of my year, I decided to encourage us to use these standards, these benchmarks that are set out for us in measuring what we accomplish as a club. And the first one is the presidential citation, and no, that is not Barack Obama's citation. That was President Ron Burton, who was the international Rotary president. He got to set his agenda and set his benchmarks for what we were to do in order to represent Rotary International in a good and positive way in this community, and we achieved it. So I will put on, in the military we call it chest lettuce, and it's not a chest, it's a banner, but the banner lettuce or the banner bling that we earned from Ron Burton, the Rotary International president, to join the others that have gone before us. The next distinction that we got was from our district. The outgoing president of our district, who is Ronnie Thompson, set his own standards and benchmarks for us to reach, and we really did a great job with that. In fact, we came in third of all of the large clubs in our district for the honor of the distinguished, the governor's distinguished club. So everyone in the room did their part to contribute to earning this distinction. Each and every one of you did a lot to make this year a success, and I really appreciate it. But I especially want to recognize a couple of people who are retiring from their positions this year. And I will start with Lynn Lair, if she will come forward. Lynn has served as our treasurer for the past 2 years, in addition to all the many things that she has done, and we have a sweet little plaque for her. It's not really suitable for framing. It's already ready to mount. And I want to go ahead and have Rusty Eisenhower come up and stand here too while I say just a couple words about that. Rusty has served as our secretary this year, but he also has been our treasurer in the past. And a big part of what we have accomplished in this past couple of years has to do with our treasury and our accountability. It's not because of anything that anybody in the past did that wasn't right, but as we get new rules and new guidelines and new expectations all the time from the district and Rotary International. So there was a lot of work that was done in clarifying our budget and separating the foundation funds from our club funds, as well as keeping track of our members and what status there is, and just an enormous amount of work that goes on behind the scenes that nobody ever really sees. This is stuff that gets reported to the district and to Rotary International. So I appreciate your work and your good service. Thank you very much. And John Bates is, I believe I saw him. John Bates is our only Board of Directors member who is actually getting relieved, or getting some relief this year. Everyone else is going to be continuing on, but I think everybody knows John, but John has been very involved with the Charitable Giving Committee and really kind of coordinating and organizing that and restructuring that in a way that has worked better for us as a club, and also been very involved with getting our club up to speed on what we need to do to be eligible for district grants and the Rotary International Foundation grants. So I wanted to give John some acknowledgement for that, and I don't have a plaque to give you, but just wanted to acknowledge that. We talk about this role as taking the baton. I'm glad that Rich Brown is here today to acknowledge him, that Jill Patton couldn't be here today, but they really truly began a process a couple of years ago of doing this transition to where we are accounting for our funds in such a way that the money that we earned this year from our fundraiser, Rotarian Idol, is ready to be dispersed as of July 1st. So that as David comes into his term as president, he already has what we are going to be contributing to our community, and there's not that last minute stress of trying to figure out how much we have and give it all away at the last minute. So I'd like to have Rich stand up and just give him a moment. And that is all that I have to say. So I'll turn it back over to Jeff.
Install the new club president. David, if you would come forward, and why don't you have your family join you. You've been elected as president of the Rotary Club of Hickory. This is the indication of the esteem and confidence the membership has in you. Please raise your right hand. Will you fulfill the responsibilities of the office of president to the best of your ability and in accordance with the constitutional documents of this club, as I will?
I will.
Congratulations, man. Okay, thank you all, and okay, at this time, I would like for Mark Seaman, President-elect, Leslie Middleton, the Secretary, and Bob Cochran, the Treasurer, to come forward. You have been elected to the important positions of administration for the Rotary Club of Hickory. The membership believes that you will give the best of your executive ability to the furtherance of the interest of the club and carrying forward the object of Rotary. Please raise your right hand. Will you fulfill the responsibilities of your offices to the best of your ability and in accordance with the constitutional documents of this club? Answer, I will. I will. Congratulations. Thanks, Jack. Have a great year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. I ask all members of this club to willingly assist President Moore, the officers and directors in carrying out their strategic plan and the goals for this new year. I will welcome a chorus of I will. I will. Thank you. President Moore, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jack. We certainly appreciate you coming and being a part of our installation ceremony and representing not only the district but RI as well. Thank you so much for that. And I want to thank our new past president, Suzanne, again for her service. Suzanne has brought a real dedication to her job, promoted structure and organization, and passionately carried out all of her duties. And I'm honored to present her past president badge. She already has her past president pin and a crystal gavel.
Thank you.
And only 52 weeks before I'm in Suzanne's shoes, not that I'm counting. It was 31 years ago, almost to the day, as of really next Thursday, that my boss at Ingold Company, Barney Spratt, died fairly suddenly. He was a member of this club. And a little while after that, I inquired about filling in his classification, which, as many of you know, was very important at that time. You could only have one person in a classification. So I wanted to make sure that we were continued in that classification. And I asked a good friend of mine, late Jerry Hucks, if he thought he could do something about that. And Jerry said that would be great, but he didn't think he had enough clout to get me in. He said he needed to talk to somebody else that had more clout in order to get to where I could pass the test. And so he recruited the late Buddy Furlong to actually sponsor me, and with his politicking and money, I don't know what it took, but enabled me to get in the Rotary Club about 30 years ago. So in that 30 years, I've had a lot of fellowship and networking with really the movers and shakers of Hickory, and it was, when I joined, that was really the captains of industry, truly, in that club, and it was an honor to be a member, which it still is. But I was always on the fringe a lot, sort of allowing myself 1 hour a week to do Rotary and get in about the time the singing is, and sometimes hopefully be right past the singing. And get involved in a few things like Wilmer Jenkins, and finally agreed to be on the board and then president-elect, and here we are. And a good friend of mine, Brent Heffern, who many of you know, a former member, also asked me last week, he said, well, what took you so long? So just took a lot of polishing to get me to this point. But this club has a great heritage, and it's remained a great club for over 90 years. And there's a lot of great things this club has done. But the landscape in Rotary is changing, the landscape in volunteering is changing, and we've got to do the same in order to stay relevant and crucial to our community. We've got to attract more young people, more people from key companies, more diversity. We've got to make our club one that provides a real reason to join it. A club so relevant and exciting that community leaders will not only have a desire to join the club, but have a real need to join the club. So all this starts with a change in the attitudes of everyone. And if you'll allow me to read from an article in Rotarian magazine. Believe it or not, there's some really good stuff in Rotarian magazine. If you get it free, you should actually try to read it every now and then. But there's an article called The Cost of Fame. Two researchers at the University of California devised a way to measure the values expressed in U.S. television shows. You might not think that TV shows from the years 1967, 77, 87, and 97 had much in common, but they did. Taking the two most popular programs from each of those years, they looked for 16 values demonstrated by the characters in those shows, such as benevolence, popularity, community feeling, financial success, tradition, and fame. For the first 40 years, 4 decades, the shows were fairly consistent, with community feeling at the top value for all except 1987 when it was second. Benevolence and tradition were always at the top, and fame ranked 15th. Achievement and financial success hovered around the bottom of the list as well. By 2007, however, community feeling had dropped to 11th, benevolence to 12th, and tradition to 15th. Financial success had jumped from 12th to 5th, achievement to 2nd, and fame to 1st. There are a slew of related trends. In the early 1950s, only 12% of teens agreed with the statement, "I am an important person." By the late 80s, 80% of those teens felt like that they agreed with that statement. So what do these changes mean, and what are implications for our society? Well, we're still mapping out the extent of that transformation, but many researchers suggest that our rising levels of stress, anxiety, and depression stem from rising levels of self-regard. In the study, people who did volunteer work had lower mortality risk 4 years later. The more regularly and frequently they volunteered, the lower the risk. But it's only true if the person volunteered for other-oriented reasons. Among those who volunteered for selfish reasons, the mortality rate was the same as for non-volunteers. So, pretty interesting, and you know, the motto of this story is volunteer and live longer. But those tables, you know, got turned, and you know what we need to do is turn those tables back. You know, we need community up here and fame down here instead of the other way around. And you know, that's something that can start right here at Ingold Company. Boy, that was a slip. But right here at the Hickory Rotary Club, and every person can affect part of that. And I hope that we'll start that right here, and we'll start a movement. We've got some goals for the year. We want to maintain at least a level of membership. That means we've got to get new members to take care of natural attrition. We'd like to attain every Rotary every year. That is getting every member in our club to give at least something to the Rotary Foundation. To attain $100 per capita in foundation giving, and that makes us eligible for district and global grants, and then once we are eligible for those grants, to apply for those grants. To have another successful fundraiser, Rotarian Idol with a twist, making it different, more exciting, and just as successful. Support Carolina Cycle Challenge on this year what will be Catawba County Rotary Day with a large volunteer contingent. Participate in volunteering in all the places we give monetary support to, and continue to raise the public image of Rotary in our community to make it a destination for the best and the brightest. Some other things that we'll do this year a little bit different. We're going to have 2 joint meetings with the Lake Hickory Rotary Club. We've already set those up. One will be in late October and one will be in late March. And one of them will be on Tuesday and one will be on Thursday. And meet with that club. We're going to have at least 1 meeting a quarter at another location at another time. We've had a lot of people wanting to know that, have more fellowship time, to really break out of the same mold all the time, so we're going to do that at least a quarter. And also, while continuing to encourage the financial support of our projects, we will also provide opportunities for feet-on-the-ground type help that will offset monetary support in case those people have difficulty doing that. So, you know, I've got great vision for keeping this club at the top of the list of vital organizations and raising it to a must place to be. And it not only starts with me as your president, but with each of you. And I would value your support and your participation as we light up Rotary. Which is our new theme for the year. Thank you. Okay, service above self, Ralph, Steve. Yeah.
We raised $65.
$65 today,
We have a total of $409.
409 total in the pot.
There are 46 cards, one joker.
46 cards and one joker left. And a free lunch waiting for you if you fail. Number is 551-578. 558. You're a regular up here, Robert. This year, yeah. First year. Okay. Try your luck. All right, failure. We love that. Free lunch. Thanks to all our visitors here. Be sure to contribute to the cart buckets for Alzheimer's research before you go. Stan wants everybody for a picture, so if you were involved here, hang around for a picture. Any other announcements? Thanks again, Assistant Governor Jack, for coming. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.